Gold just realized its biggest yearly gain since 2010, and Wall Street says it's going even higher. Heading into 2025, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are both forecasting $3,000 an ounce gold and paltry returns for stocks. Call the proud Americans of the Patriot Gold Group today before it's too late. Mention the Still Report, and you'll always get best-in-class service from Patriots protecting patriots. Call 888-753-1647 for a free investor guide today. Patriot Gold Group is Consumer Affairs' top-rated gold IRA dealer 7 years in a row. Call 888-753-1647. Good evening. I'm still reporting on President Trump's upcoming visit to Fort Knox. Unlike the last known visit by any politician, much less any member of the public, into the inner gold rooms of the Fort Knox Depository in Kentucky, President Trump's announcement that he was going to visit the nation's primary gold storage facility will likely be more extensive than any previous one. The last visit by a civilian was in 1974 when Mary Brooks, then the director of the U.S. Mint, took 6 congressmen, 1 senator, and an Associated Press reporter and photographer inside the depository. They were shown only one of the smallest gold storage rooms that surrounded the large underground central core vault where most of the nation's gold is supposed to be stored. Here is a diagram of the Central Core Vault, drawn by the former Lieutenant General John L. Ryan, the former commanding general of the depository. I apologize for this being such low resolution, but over the years I have copied this drawing so many times that this is the best I can do right now. By the way, I got all of my Fort Knox material from Ed Durrell of Berryville, Virginia. I lived close by and was running a small weekly newspaper in Loudoun County, Virginia, now infamous for the suppression by the FBI of members of the public who attended a school board meeting to protest DEI policies. Ed Durrell was a wealthy Ohio industrialist about 50 years older than I, but he enjoyed the topics I wrote about in my newspaper, the Loudoun Monitor, which I ran between 1977 and 1982. He figured I might carry on his work, and so he turned it all over to me about 1980.
This man, Ed Durrell, a wealthy Ohio industrialist, devoted himself to a quest for the truth concerning the Fort Knox gold. He wrote thousands of letters to over 1,000 government and banking officials, trying to find out how much gold was really left and where the rest of it had gone. Edith Roosevelt, the granddaughter of President Teddy Roosevelt, questioned the actions of the government in a March 1975 edition of the New Hampshire Sunday News. Allegations of missing gold from our Fort Knox vaults are being widely discussed in European financial circles. But what is puzzling is that the administration is not hastening to demonstrate conclusively that there is no cause for concern over our gold treasure, if indeed it is in a position to do so. Unfortunately, Ed Durrell never did accomplish his primary goal, a full audit of the gold reserves in Fort Knox. It's incredible that the world's greatest treasure has had little accounting or auditing. This gold belonged to the American people, not the Federal Reserve and their foreign owners. One thing is certain, the government could blow all of this speculation away in a few days with a well-publicized audit under the searing lights of media cameras. It has chosen not to do so. One must conclude that they are afraid of the truth such an audit would reveal. What is the government so afraid of? Here's the answer. When President Ronald Reagan took office in 1981, his conservative friends urged him to study the feasibility of returning to a gold standard as the only way to curb government spending. It sounded like a reasonable alternative, so President Reagan appointed a group of men called the Gold Commission to study the situation and report back to Congress. What Reagan's Gold Commission reported back to Congress in 1982 was the following shocking revelation concerning gold. The U.S. Treasury owned no gold at all. All the gold that was left in Fort Knox was now owned by the Federal Reserve, a group of private bankers, as collateral against the national debt. The truth of the matter is that never before has so much money been stolen from the hands of the general public and put into the hands of a small group of private investors, the money changers.
So I've been on this story longer than I've been on my favorite topic, monetary reform. Back to what became known as the Mary Brooks Peek into Fort Knox in 1974, the famous picture of Mary Brooks holding her hand up and proclaiming, "It's all here, all the gold is here." That wall of gold bricks, however, represented only a tiny fraction of the millions of ounces supposedly in the depository. Hopefully, when President Trump visits, he will insist on seeing the central core vault, and hopefully he will invite yours truly and a representative of Evidence Scientific of Waltham, Massachusetts, makers of the Vanta handheld XRF analyzer, which is the only instrument I know of that can provide immediate on-site measurements for analyzing precious metals, including gold, platinum, silver, etc. The Vanta device makes on-the-spot analysis of gold carat percentage using a 4-watt X-ray tube that produces results accurate to 0.027% in just seconds. Had this device been available the last time civilians were allowed in to see Fort Knox gold in 1974, the truth would have been discovered then, that this wall of gold Mary Brooks displayed was likely not 0.995% gold we expected, but something far less pure, gold which had been adulterated, melted, and recast in order to hide the fact that the real gold bars were long ago shipped to the London Gold Pool, and the Treasury Department has been hiding that fact for decades. Now that we have revealed that this technology is now available, I predict that the Treasury Department and the Mint will drag their feet incessantly until they can ship back in some of the real gold bars, the remnant of which have primarily resided inside the vaults of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. As interesting as this story is, it is nowhere as important an issue as is paying off the national debt, which is actually quite easily done, as I have said recently dozens of times in an attempt to draw President Trump's attention to this issue. All we must do to eliminate the national debt totally is, over Trump's term in office, pay off the bonds, notes, and T-bills as they come due with the oldest form of United States money, the United States note, instead of the Federal Reserve note. But we'll have to hit that topic again in another report, because right now I'm happy that the president has heard of the Fort Knox issue and is apparently ready to expose it in the near future. Then we can move on to monetary reform, that is, paying off the national debt the easy way. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day.